Welcome to elementary. It's Monday and I apologize, I'm 5 minutes late. But today I wanted to touch base on a couple of things. One is understanding the financial benefits today we're going to talk about the benefits, okay? And you can apply them as a benefit or in reverse as not such a benefit. Let's just say that. So, the financial benefits of downsizing. And these are for my downsizer folks so downsizing can come in a little different options. So, I have clients who downsize, not just downsizing in the true sense, but downsizing in a way that maybe they're looking at a bit of a smaller home, but it also could be that they're looking for a little bit of a different home. Either way, downsizing, selling, whatever you want to call it, has to make sense for you. And does it make sense for you? So for those of you watching, if you have any questions, drop them in the question icon or in the comment section below. And thank you again for joining. I do appreciate it. And like I said, downsizing for you has to be something that you put your thought to. Really turn your mind towards and wrap your mind towards it, because there's lots that goes into this process, right? So one of the things I tell, before I get into the benefits of it, one of the things I say to people is the cost. Moving costs you money, but most important, you want to make sure that that you understand those numbers. So for example, if you're in the middle of a mortgage, you're like 2 years in or 2.5 years in to a 5-year mortgage, what is the cost to break the mortgage? So I have a seller right now who's looking to buy and sell. And so I send them back to the bank and I said, figure out what your cost is to break this mortgage. And the mortgage renews in about a year. And then let's talk about, is it worthwhile or should you wait a few months before we go through that process? So those are some of the things. However, if you do decide that downsizing is for you, there are some positives towards downsizing. And some of those positives could be lowering cost, right? So if you're going from a large house and your kids have moved out and now you're in this big house all by yourself, or not all by yourself, but maybe your spouse and you. Maybe some of the kids have moved out, but not all of them. But really, do you need all of the space? And a lot of times I find my older clients living in a big house, they've gathered so much stuff. I actually had one client tell me that their kids moved out and they still left all their stuff behind. And, they were storing their stuff in their house and they still haven't taken their stuff. And it's still in her basement. And I was like, okay, that's funny. But, kids do things like that, right? So then it comes down to why are you feeling overwhelmed, right? Like feeling overwhelmed is one thing, but let's talk about what some of your benefits are. And so a lot of times people don't realize that they are living in a big home. They're paying a lot of, taxes, utilities, maintenance, like yard maintenance, whether it's shoveling the snow, cutting the grass, all of those things. And those can cost and they can add up after a while. If you have a pool, it's pool maintenance, the whole 9 yards. And so what can you reduce when you downsize? You can reduce all of those costs. You pay less for utilities because now you're going to have a smaller home. So while you're going to pay less for the home, and some people might have sticker shock, let me tell you, because when they bought their home, their large home could have been 300,000 or 400,000, and now they're buying like a small little house that's like 6, and they can't kind of wrap their mind around those numbers. But like I said, the numbers have to make sense for you, right? And one of the things that I find is that people who are looking at downside, I know moving can be very emotional, right? It can be so emotional because, first of all, you might be looking at it like, I don't want to give up my space, but you're not really giving up anything now, are you? Like, if the choice is yours, so there's a couple of things. If you're outgrowing your space because you're a growing family, then obviously, you know, it's a little bit of a different sense, right? You are looking forward to a bigger space. You are looking forward to moving in, and you just have to wrap your mind around those dynamics. Now, if you're an older person and you're looking to downsize, and you may be feeling like you're giving up some of your independence, but it's not always that you're giving up your independence. It's like, what other new chapter in your life are you opening up? What are you looking forward to? And so a lot of people find it overwhelming when it comes down to it. But that's because you're thinking about it and you don't do this for a living. And so we help you through that process. And in no time, you're going to think you're a pro at this, because we just help you really break it down for you in bite-sized pieces so that you're not feeling overwhelmed and you're not feeling like you can't manage downsizing, and you're not feeling like, oh my goodness, I can't just do this. So once you downsize and once you get, let's say you had a fair bit of equity in your home, what would you then do with that money? How many of you here have thought, hey, I'd love to just have time to do the things I want to do. I'd love to just be able to, you know, travel more. I'd love to be able to worry less about my retirement. And sometimes I think people have so much equity sitting in their home that they just don't know how to connect their dots and how to make it work out. So I would say to you is that if you're looking for to do this, you need to have someone who's going to be in your corner, not just someone who's looking to make a sale. So one of the things I tell my clients is whether you decide today or you decide tomorrow, you're going to sell your house at some point. I'm not in a rush. Like, you just have to understand the numbers today versus the numbers any other time. And those numbers could change. It could be a moving scale. But you have to do what's right for you either way. All right? And what else are you looking to do? Some people are looking to pay off their debt. So a lot of times I'll have a couple that will come to me and say, okay, I have a house, it's worth so much. We really don't need such a big house. But we're looking to get closer into that retirement mode where we don't have so much payments, we don't have to do, we have less of a mortgage, or we want to try and eliminate our mortgage. And so that's what I help them do. Now, I can tell you that I've done it myself. I've done it where I eliminated my mortgage in like half the time. And there's things you can do to, like, little baby steps or bigger steps, whatever works for you. But you can do it. You can get your mortgage down. You can cut it down by a couple of years, or you can cut it down by half the amount of time. And if that's something someone wants to work towards, I help my clients get to that state as well. Also, putting into consideration plans for them. Like if you're thinking of, hey, I want to downsize, I want to get to the stage, but right now, even if I downsize, I'll still have a little bit of a mortgage. How do you eliminate that piece of mortgage so that in X amount of years, you'll have no mortgage left, and then you can just live? And so some of my clients are looking for that. They're not retirement age yet, but they're looking ahead so that they can start that process a little early and they can achieve the lifestyle they want to achieve. And like I say to people, it's all about the lifestyle. Like, what lifestyle are you looking to get into? What are you looking to fulfill and what sort of lifestyle have you been dreaming of? And I don't think anyone here can tell me they've been just dreaming of to work and pay bills, right? Like, I don't think that's what you dream of. But now, if you have a growing family, your lifestyle and what are you looking forward to might be a little different than someone who is looking to downsize. And then if you're older and you're looking to downsize, a lot of times I'm dealing with, families and their kids who are helping with the process. So one of the things that I wanted to say today is that if you do get money out of your house because you've downsized and you have some extra money, don't go blow it on, look, I'm not telling you how to spend your money. The one thing I tell my parents, and I've said this to them from years ago, I say to my parents, spend every penny. Can't take it with you, don't worry about us. You made your way in life, we'll make ours too, right? And whatever's left is a bonus. But I tell my parents, have a good life, have no regrets. Just don't leave us with any debts. But spend your money and be smart about how you spend your money. And so a lot of times people will say, well, what should I do with the money that I get out and I have extras? I say, well, save it. Save it, put it in, and make some money on your money. That's the only way you can grow your money is, put it into something that's going to grow your money so that you have that return, and that money then is just making you money. So down the road, you can live on it. I had one client that had bought a condo a while with me, and I know she was very reluctant when we were like signing the papers, but a year later, I knew it was a good deal. We negotiated a really good deal. And a year later, she made like over 100,000. And then she was like, oh, what should I do with all this money? And I'm like, it's only 100,000, but just save it and put it into something that makes you a lot more money. Get rid of your bills, like, any bills that are costing you a lot of money. If you have any debts, get rid of it. Anything that's costing you a lot of money, right? A lot of interest. That's what I mean. And then put the rest away and let your money make you money so that you can do something with that money. Like I said, pay off debt, enjoy life, travel, and grow your money. Now, a lot of times people say to me, well, I've been living in this house forever and I'm struggling with the amount of stuff I've accumulated. And we all accumulate stuff. Who out here listening to me can tell me that they do not accumulate stuff? We all are a bit guilty of accumulating stuff. But then I say to people, you have to kind of get used to doing the one-year rule when it comes down to your clothes or even items that you have, like donate it to a good cause, maybe newcomers to Canada, maybe to your local church or a local charity that does good work, right? Or even a lot of times I'll tell people to sell items on Kijiji. You had one client who was actually listing their home with me, and I remember the day I walked in, they were feeling so overwhelmed, but it's not like you don't walk into a house and it's almost like they took out everything they could possibly take out of there and had it on display for me of how much items they had. And I was like, okay, don't feel so overwhelmed. I know you've started the process. I said, don't worry about it. And I sent in an organizer to help them. Like just get started, get them to do a little bit of stuff and work with them. And in no time, we had a number of things that they just listed on Marketplace, and those bigger items were left, and then we got the rest of it organized and put into either stored or packed or just organized. So the house looks presentable. The house looks like when you open a cabinet, all your spices don't fall out of the drawer. That kind of stuff. Now, once we did that, they actually felt a lot better. But it's almost like breaking down that into smaller bite-sized pieces, right? And trying to find a way to do like maybe one drawer at a time. I know I need to do it. My husband will probably say, you need to find time to do one drawer at a time. But it's true. It's like breaking it down. Instead of thinking, oh my goodness, I have to organize this whole house or this whole, this bedroom. Just do one closet, time it. Do 15, 20 minutes of organizing a day, or on a weekend, do 30 minutes. Time yourself. Put a timer, get started, and then go through it and put it away and do the next drawer the next day. And before you know it, you'll get rid of a lot of stuff. And so having that little help helps. And so a lot of times people wonder, like when you list your house, what do you get when you use an agent, right? Listen, you get what you pay for. If you don't want to pay the commission, you're going to get the basic service, right? That's the way it works. But sometimes paying commission helps you get other help in the process. You get all these extras to help you get to where you need to be. That way you have the best. You enjoy the process, or you actually take in the process. You're not as stressed because it's not like you're doing all of the work and you're getting all of the stuff out of the house, right? And that's what actually stops people from, wanting to be where they want to be, right? Like that's what really crushes people's lifestyle dreams. It's like, hey, I do want to move, but I really don't want to deal with all of the stuff that I have to wrap my mind around. But that's really what we do. We help you get to where you need to be so that you don't have to worry about that too much. Anyhow, so that was my first part. The second part is what's happening with the real estate market. And I know a lot of you will ask, and what I say is like I don't do monthly numbers. I don't post those numbers. And if I do, they're really just numbers. It really doesn't tell you what's happening in your market as such, does it? Because your market is unique to where you are. And so if you were looking to sell or you were interested to know, I would say to you, DM me. And we'll go through the numbers with you on your specific area, what's happening, what we're noticing. Because the numbers that we get, even though they're drilled down by area, it's a little bit of a bigger picture look. And it's not really what happens. So if I were to drill down numbers for Toronto, there's so many different pockets of areas in Toronto, and one border can make a big difference, right? You can have people in one area that are selling at a certain amount for a certain kind of home, and just on the other side of it, you'll have something else happening. So a couple of things. Condo market is a good market for people looking to jump into the market right now. There's lots of inventory and lots of choice. So the interest rate, on the other hand, June 5th was, it dropped by 0.25%. So that doesn't really, it's not a lot. It's like $16 on every 100,000. So I don't think anyone's jumping up and down waving their hands, but I think it's a sentiment, right? Like we said, it's just people are looking at it going, oh, is this the start of what's to come? Is this where the rates are going to go in a downward trajectory? And this is what we have to look forward to. Now, when we are looking at what the economists are saying so far, the one thing that was clear is they were unsure if June would have dropped. And, they were saying, well, 80% of people think it's going to drop. However, Some people think it won't drop, and so there's no way to guess. I mean, they never get it right. They haven't got it right for years on end, and there's no way to guess what's going to happen, right? And that's why I say, like, if you're looking to buy or sell, the buy, sell, whatever it is, whether it's buying a home or buying an investment property, it has to make sense for you. Now, like I said, a quarter basis points is not going to move the earth, but they're hoping that over time, maybe not in the next announcement, but the following, there might be another drop. And who knows, maybe we'll be down to 4% or 4.25% by the end of the year as opposed to 4.75. And that there's so many things that you know, they draw their numbers based on so many different things that are happening. However, for the most part, I would say to people, those numbers have to make sense for you. Stop trying to time the market, because, you know, not everyone is going to walk away at the perfect time with the right home, the right size, if you're timing the market. Sometimes you get lucky and sometimes you don't. But make it count. Make it count for you and your family. Like, if you need to do this, understand the numbers. Like I said, understand what it's going to take to break a mortgage. Understand what it's like to actually get a pre-approval in advance of a mortgage. The one thing I'm seeing quite a bit of is that banks obviously are not in the market to sell homes, right? Most of your banks or your lenders, they don't want to take your property from you. But we are seeing a lot of power sales, and I'm seeing quite a few of them listed under power sale at my end. So the market's in a different place. You need to qualify. And if you had a mortgage, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, and you're coming up for renewal, you need to make sure you can qualify, and that you can qualify at the rate right now. So a lot of times I think people bury their head in the sand. They don't try to understand their numbers. They don't try to understand what they have on their mortgage docs, right? Like, so not all mortgages are the same. Some of them will have different clauses, and you need to understand what those clauses are. Not just, you know, someone says to you, hey, I can get you into a house and you'll only pay $1,800 a month. What does that mean? What does it even mean to you? Maybe you like the number, maybe you like what 1,800 means, but what does it mean for principal and interest? What does it mean for how many years you're going to be paying this 1,800? It's like those dealership ads, you know, hey, it's only $350 a month. Like, for how many months, how many years? Will the car still be alive and running, and, you know, and will you still have payments after the car dies? Like, those are the things you have to, you know, worry about, right? When you're buying those cars that have these weird captions. So the same with your mortgage. Dig a little deeper, ask a few more questions. And if you don't know what to ask, then get in touch with someone who can help you decipher these things. If you're coming up for renewal, figure out what your clauses are. Like, if you are shopping for a mortgage, most people say, hey, I don't want so many credit hits. But understand, if you're shopping for a mortgage in that 30-day window, it'll probably be one credit hit and not multiple. So the other thing you can do is also shop with a mortgage broker who can get you the best deal from any bank. Now, a lot of times I know people don't want to go shopping. It's like, once they go with one bank, they're like, oh, it's too much work. I have to reproduce all these documents. I got to go get all this. So they go with the same bank as opposed to, and that's okay too, if the bank is giving you a good rate, but do some homework. Figure out what you can get from other people before you sign on the dotted line. And one thing I would say to you as I wrap up, since I see no questions, always understand what you're signing up for. Like, what is your mortgage? What are the terms of your mortgage? I know a lot of us, we're like just so eager to sign. because we think, oh, wow, we have this mortgage, it's great. Let's just take it because, the numbers work out for us. But try and understand what those numbers truly, truly mean for you. And also try and understand what you're buying or what you're giving up and what you're getting in return. So until next week, I will see you again. For those of you watching, I want to thank you for spending your dinner hour with me. And if you haven't met, my name is Jacqueline Watson, and I'm a realtor with Sutton Group Tower in Toronto. And until next Monday, we'll see you then. And if you have a question or a topic you'd like me to dig a bit deeper in for you, get a guest speaker on to cover that topic, then feel free to DM me your questions or your interests, and I'll be happy to do that as well. Thank you so much. Have a nice week. Bye.